Bem-vindos ao Hintt e a esta terceira edição, cujo tema central, Healthcare What Does the Future Hold, irá abordar os principais drivers de mudança no que diz respeito ao impacto das tecnologias no cidadão, nos profissionais de saúde e em todo o ecossistema da saúde. Como vão as empresas inovar e que modelo de negócio os hospitais irão adotar são algumas das questões retratadas nesta terceira edição. Para dar início, chamo ao palco Nuno Vasco Lopes, Presidente da Comissão Executiva da Hintt e Vice-Presidente da ANF.
Bom dia a todos. Bem-vindos à terceira edição do Hintt. É para nós um privilégio, enquanto Hintt, poder promover este evento. É um momento especial, é um momento que, aliás, todos os anos se realiza por esta altura, no princípio de outubro. Já o ano passado se realizou no dia 3 de outubro, este ano também. Mas, fundamentalmente, o que pretendemos com isto é passar um pouco a palavra a quem faz as coisas. É um momento em que nós ouvimos experiências do que há de melhor no mundo, e essa é uma das características deste evento. Trazemos oradores internacionais que têm boas práticas e as melhores experiências. Hoje vamos ter aqui 3 oradores de referência. Vamos ter o Rudy Duale, que é um humanista, um orador internacional. Vamos ter também a experiência do EIT Health, com o Jan Philip Beck. Is there. Welcome to Portugal, Jan Philip. E vamos ter também uma intervenção de uma experiência prática de um hospital que é uma referência mundial, que é o Samsung Medical Center. Dr. Cho, welcome to Portugal also. Nice to meet you. Este modelo que nós utilizamos e que é utilizado aqui no Hintt tem uma segunda componente também. A primeira componente tem a ver com a inspiração e a forma como nós podemos olhar para as melhores experiências do mundo, e a segunda parte tem a ver com o reconhecimento do mérito, em que é atribuído pelo júri, o júri do Hintt, o prémio para os melhores projetos do ano em 4 categorias e que serão apresentados na segunda parte. A mim compete-me, obviamente, cumprimentar-vos, fazer aqui a abertura. Dizer-vos também que nós que vivemos no mundo da saúde percebemos claramente que os desafios hoje são grandes. Quer temas que têm a ver com a evolução da pirâmide etária ou temas que tenham a ver com a escassez de recursos. São temas do nosso dia-a-dia, vivemos todos os dias. E há alguns elementos que são essenciais para que possamos ultrapassar e conseguir vencer todas as dificuldades do dia-a-dia. O primeiro tema que eu queria salientar é a inovação. A capacidade que nós temos e que temos que ter de incorporar inovação todos os dias. E não estou a falar só de inovação tecnológica, não estou a falar só de inovação dos sistemas de informação. Estou a falar também de inovação terapêutica. É essencial que nós consigamos ter a capacidade de ter recursos para incorporar inovação terapêutica e que consigamos colocar o mais próximo possível de todas as pessoas. Isto é absolutamente crítico. Por outro lado, também inovarmos na forma como nos relacionamos com as pessoas e nos serviços que prestamos todos os dias à nossa população. Primeiro tema, inovação. Segundo tema é um tema essencial e que muitas vezes nos esquecemos dele. É essencial para nós, na nossa perspectiva, que tem a ver com o aproveitamento da capacidade instalada que temos no setor da saúde. Muitas vezes a nossa tentação é tentarmos fazer e desenvolver os nossos projetos de A a Z de modo próprio, sem olhar para o lado, quando existem outros parceiros na área da saúde, com capacidade instalada, que fizeram investimentos muito significativos, quer no público, quer no privado, e que nós não aproveitamos para poder escalar e melhorar o valor que entregamos às pessoas. O segundo tema, aproveitar a capacidade instalada. E o terceiro tema, que é um tema que já é um clássico, que tem a ver com a lógica do Value-Based Healthcare. Cada vez mais, e para garantir a sustentabilidade do nosso sistema, temos que olhar numa lógica de medir o valor de tudo o que nós fazemos. É absolutamente essencial. Estas 3 coisas, sempre centrado nas pessoas, que são o motivo por que nós estamos aqui. Dito isto, o que vos queria desejar é uma excelente manhã. Nós fazemos isto num formato relativamente leve, portanto é uma manhã intensa, com boa onda, boa inspiração e, portanto, fundamentalmente, divirtam-se e esperamos que possam sentir-se inspirados quando saírem daqui. Muito obrigado e bem-vindos.
O nosso primeiro orador convidado traz-nos um conjunto de questões, entre elas, como desenvolver um modelo consciente de negócio e inovação, como construir uma liderança consciente em saúde, qual a realidade que os modelos de negócio destes setores vão seguir? Senhoras e senhores, o futurista, humanista, autor e orador internacional, Mr. Rudy the Whale.
Bom dia, Lisbon. Good morning. First, I wanted to start with giving my gratitude to all of you who are working every day tremendously to, improving the health of people's lives. I think it's such a noble cause, when you save many people's lives too. So thank you for that. So I work as a futurist, so many clients ask me always like, what's going to happen in 10 years? And I'm like, it's not about predicting the future. What I do is more about creating consciousness and awareness about creating the scenarios to design the future we want. Because I believe it's all about designing the future we want. Yeah, we can literally design and do the things we want to create in our lives. So we are in this tremendous, exciting period of, where technology is basically redefining everything we do. We can find solutions that we have never thought of before. We can create all these new products and services with technology. But technology is also giving us a new mirror type of like what it means to be human. Because there's so much technology around us now that we have to think like what is really out there for us. How do we want to live our lives in this future? Yeah, so because lots of people are not thinking of this anymore. So I'm going to give you an overview of this, what this means in your industry. So in the upcoming years, we can solve world hunger. We can stop and reverse global warming. We can slow down or cure major diseases. We can provide clean water to everyone at low cost. We can solve the energy problem, and we can switch to sustainable economies for everyone. So the technology and the science is there to make this happen. What we will need is conscious leadership. We need leaders with responsibility who want to move things forward, for a better humanity, to create a better humanity. So I use this example from the movie Wall-E, you have seen from Pixar. Yeah, I think most of you have seen it from 10 years ago. So and there's this scenario, there's this scene in there, which you can look at it as a dystopian or a utopian future of like how cool it's going to be in the future. So, but we created this consumer society where everything is basically created for us, where everything is done for us. We have advertising and we just can click on it and then get an order for some food in our plate. We don't even have to get out of our sofa any longer to work, or even to do things. So we are creating a society which is more and more, let's say, for consumers, not very active. And we can think about that. Is this the future we want? Is this the future we want for our children? Because this is the main key question for the future, I think. Look at this poor boy. He can hardly get out of his sofa any longer. But if we look at the statistics and if we look at what is going on, I will show some statistics later, this is really the world that we are creating now. So most of the products and services we are creating are dopamine addicted. You know better than me what dopamine does. It's this quick fix in your brain that we get from any type of satisfaction. You can get it from marking a goal in football, for some fast food, for some binge watching on Netflix, and there's so many things that satisfy us in an instant with dopamine. The problem with dopamine is that it's very addictive. We go from one flush to another flush of energy and dopamine addiction. So we need to look more at like what is serotonin driven, And serotonin driven pleasure is the other chemical in our brain that creates long-term satisfaction. And long-term satisfaction we get from learning something new, reading a book, learning a new instrument, playing outdoors with our friends and family, meditation, exercise, all the things that keeps us and makes us very happy in the long term. So we need to think of like how can we move more towards this type of society? And children know this very well because they do this all the time by playing outdoors. So the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. And I think this is a profound statement from Albert Einstein from nearly a century ago. But it really is about changing our thought system. If we want to really change things, we need to change the way we think. Because everything we have been thinking so far, our belief systems, our assumptions, our addictions, are not really working any longer. Yeah? So I think the future is all about changing our thought systems. Because what we see is that people are not really suffering physically anymore. Yes, they do, but it's mostly mental. People go in burnout, they get mental diseases, they get a lot of depression. So we're going to move a lot from physical displacement and uncomfort to mental uncomfort and healing in that area that will be needed. So if you look at like some statistics, what is going to happen? In the next 2-3 decades, we get 10 billion people on this planet. That's 2.5 billion people more than we have now. Yeah? And most of them will live in cities. We are living in the fastest growth that we have ever known on this planet. So our cities will become overpopulated. Yeah? If you look at obesity rates, for example, 1 out of 3 children in the US is already obese. And in European countries or other Western countries, this is what is happening. This is what the fast food culture and our sugary food culture is creating. And the statistics keep growing. So we need to ask ourselves, is this really a good system that we are in, right? Because if this increases, it's a tremendous cost for everyone. It's a tremendous cost for society, a tremendous cost for everyone. So I predict that with technology also we will go into a system where people who are obese or who have more healthcare expenses will also pay more for that. Because healthy people will be rewarded to stay healthy. And technology will give us that potential. If you look at ultra-processed food, which is nearly all the food that you buy basically in plastic or prepared food, yeah, over 50% in the UK of the food that family buys is already ultra-processed. Yeah? Most European countries, it's already over 30 or over 40%, yeah, which is not a healthy way. It's all the things that we don't need, it's all the sugars, all the chemicals that we don't really need. Luckily, in the Mediterranean countries and Portugal, as you can see, it's less because we still eat very healthy. We eat a lot outside. We eat a lot of Mediterranean type of diets, yeah. But the numbers are increasing everywhere. Children on average see 40,000 advertisements per year. 40,000. Yeah? Think about that. And most of them are all for these companies that produce all these unhealthy foods. So is this really something that we want for our children, or do we want to reverse that? And then how do we reverse that? That is questions that I am basically asking myself. Luckily, the new generation, the young generation, is very, very let's say, potential and has a lot of confidence in creating a different world. This looks like a great hamburger, but it's actually a vegan burger. You heard about Impossible Foods, you heard about these new companies, these new startups that are now actually producing meat or meat-like food based on protein or natural protein, or actually also based on our animal cells, yeah, created in the lab. Yeah. Impossible Foods made a deal with Burger King, and they are currently distributing already in the US. So it's going very fast for them. In UK, the latest statistics show that 1 in 3 of youngsters below 25 years become vegan. And why is that? It's not because they don't like meat, it's because meat is one of the biggest polluters for climate change. Yeah. So they are really concerned about this, and they're also changing their habits. So if you look at Greta Thunberg here, she started this whole movement, but it's about a lot more than just the climate change. There was this discussion on German TV with a German politician and about the right to actually stay away from school. And she said, why should we go to school to learn the things that got us in this mess? Yeah. It might be a very abrupt statement, but it's very true in the end, right? So we do workshops with children and youngsters of 6 years old. They are questioning that already the school by answering that why should they learn knowledge, be tested upon it, if they can ask Google Home or Amazon Echo? They are right. Yeah. So our system is totally unprepared for the future. This is what I want to say. We are still in a system that is 150 years old of industrial revolution, industrial progress. But now we are entering in a new world where all these things are becoming more and more irrelevant. We have to learn new skills for the future, to actually face the future and to work with machines and technology in the future in a good way. So if you look at the output of plastics, for example, over annually 300 million tons of plastics are produced every year. Yeah? These are now turning into microplastics. Yeah? Only 9% of all this plastic is actually recycled. Most of them goes in landfills, in the sea, or is burned. How many of you have heard about microplastics? Okay, good. Microplastics are these little things, millimeter, little balls of plastic that are actually eroded by plastic over the time when they stay in the sun and when they stay in the waters and all that. And they become so tiny, they're also in our clothing, that we breathe them in. They have found microplastic in the Alps on 4,000 meter high. Yeah? They come back into our food system. Yeah? But the fish eat them and we eat the fish and they come back in our food system. It's now estimated that we eat a credit card of plastic every week. Yeah? Yeah, no kidding, these are serious stats. So, and this is not good for our health, you know. It's very early in the research of like what this does to our health, but it's for sure, it's not very good. So I could go on a lot here on like what is happening to our oceans, what is happening to our climate and all that. This is not my case here, but you know, it's very serious. There's a lot of things not really going good, yeah, in what we do. So we need to change it. We need to move to different ways of like how we use plastic, move to bioplastics. A lot of big corporations are actually moving towards that, and the European Union also is creating new laws on straws, for example, and single-use plastic for not using that any longer by 2022 or something. So we need to go more into circular types of economies. So let's look at the exponential technology trends impacting any business. Autonomous vehicles and transportation. This is a picture from Shanghai, but in every city we have this type of problem. Every day we sit on average 45 minutes, maybe an hour in traffic jams. Yeah? This time, if you calculate it on a yearly basis, this is like 3 weeks of extra holiday. Think about that. And this is just sitting in traffic. So that's why we need to make our systems more efficient, more productive also, and so we can also more greener, yeah, so more sustainable also. So in electric cars and all this new type of technologies will provide this type of solutions. It's going to take some time though. The technology is there, but a lot of regulation and all that is standing in the way. But I predict, yeah, within 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, we will move seriously in that area. Yeah. So here you see a statistic or a slide, a video from a company that does data streaming for traffic jams. It got acquired by Google a couple of years ago. But this is a very good example of like what is happening with technology, how we need to think differently. You remember the people who sit in these huge control rooms full of screens watching the traffic. Yeah, and they could say, oh, there's a traffic jam, but they could not do anything about it, right? So that's the old world. In the new world, we can see this, and we can literally see all the red points where the traffic is actually starting, and the artificial intelligence or the software, the algorithm can calculate a different way to get to your route or your destination. So this is what artificial intelligence and software can do. So, and this is for any industry. We can improve a lot of things. We can think entirely different. We see new opportunities everywhere. So, in self-flying vehicles and drones, there's a lot of innovation also. Like on the top left, you can see Amazon, who's already experimenting with delivery, yeah, for packages and delivering it by drones. Do you think that all these drivers are going to sit in the traffic jams to deliver their packages? No, Amazon is already thinking a way ahead. The eyewear on the top right, you can see, is a drone that can fly inside warehouses and do all the scanning of all the products. The one you see on the top left, on the bottom left, is actually one that has a heart defibrillator. Yeah, they can send to an accident and actually save people on a very much faster time than they can do now. And then the bottom right, there was one of Boeing that can already carry heavy loads. This one here from Zipline is already applied in Rwanda in Africa and is transferring blood actually to save lives for people in a much faster way. So there's a lot of things we can do with technology and even drones. Self-flying cars, yeah, I'm not going to show too much of self-driving, I'm already going a step ahead. These are all examples that already exist. This is an example from Boeing, from Airbus, sorry. where they created this type of small car that can drive and move fast in cities, and if you can take you to another place in the city with this engine in the air. This is actually not the future. They are currently testing this on the market to go on the market very fast. On the top right, you can see Hintt, which is a self-flying drone, which is already applied in Dubai for a one-person, two-persons type of passenger lift to the other side of the city. On the bottom left, you can see the Hawk, which is more an engine that can fly in natural environments and spaces. And here you can see the Aeromobile, which is from a Slovakian designer. And you can order this for €1 million, $1 million online already, to be delivered in 2020. So it's actually a car that can fly. So you see all these entrepreneurs, they never stop, right? They always think further ahead. Like when there's a lot of obstacles, they think about how to move these obstacles away. So the same in your industry too. We have automation of everything. We have already a lot of automation going on for a long time, and I know there's a lot of technological partners here in the audience, and I think it's amazing, you know, what can be done now with robotics and in health. More precision, a lot more precise work and all that. So it's more about how can we work with this type of technologies, and also how can we implement them. If you look at digital assistants and robotic assistants, they are applied already everywhere. Yeah, and they progress at such a pace, yeah, at such a pace that they can, in all areas, we use them for children, we use them for the elderly, we can use them as a guide for cooking at home, and so on. So we can argue whether this is a good thing or not. You know, I would rather prefer that my children play with older children than with robots, you know, to be honest. But okay, this is the world we created, so we all have a choice what we want, right? Artificial intelligence is probably the most disruptive technology that we have seen in a long time. Yeah, I think most of you are already working with artificial intelligence. I will give some examples. Nearly every big corporation is investing heavily in artificial intelligence. Why is that? Because there is so much data produced by our phones, by our laptops, by our sensors now with everything connected that we can hardly analyze any longer what data we need to analyze. So machine learning and artificial intelligence can do that for us much better. Here you see an example of Google, for example, can detect lung cancer much faster than radiologists, yeah, with artificial intelligence. This is a recent statistics. Here is a statistic of an example of 148 startups using artificial intelligence in drug discovery. I'm not going to name all of them, but there are some sources I can share with you even afterwards this conference if you want, of like where can you look at all these startups and who is doing what and how they are doing, how they are progressing. But there's a lot of new innovation in this area. If you look at the top AI applications in your area, in your sector, we can see robot assistant surgery. This is actually from a report from Accenture on the healthcare, I think from the new nervous system from a year ago. So robot-assisted surgery, 40 billion. Yeah, so in a total of 150 billion savings potential in your industry, so that we can applying artificial intelligence. Virtual nursing assistants, administrative workflow, fraud detection, of course, dosage error, connected machines, clinical trial, preliminary diagnosis, and so on. So it's for sure that, you know, we can see a lot of holes and a lot of leaps and a lot of lapses in, you know, the data that we are not capable to see that AI can do a lot for us. It's very important, though, that we develop the AI always with human values at the core. Shared benefit and prosperity, ecosystem thinking, responsibility. Because as of now, we have mainly used AI to actually take more value out of the system without giving back. Yeah, so a lot of these technology companies, they take out a lot without giving back. Yeah, so I think this is a real concern for the future, and which we all have to be very careful about. So as Erik Brynjolfsson, who's the head of MIT in this area, he says the choice isn't between automation and non-automation, it's between whether you use the technology in a way that creates shared prosperity or more concentration of wealth. Currently, we're in the more concentration of wealth area, but I'm convinced that all this will level out and will balance out in the future. So Internet of Things, another hype word, where we literally can put a sensor on every product and connect it and produce data. So we come from literally 0 connections to infinite connections. We are moving also in this area which is called, the ambient computing, where we connect also even sensors, machine intelligence, and mind-machine user interfaces. If you look at the platform economy, it's very unbalanced. Yeah, if we say data is the new oil, you have heard this slogan, which is what we know. Most of the top 5 or the top 5, top 10 companies now worldwide, they all have data as their model of revenue. Yeah, they make their money with data business models. So, and most of that money goes back to them. Google, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon. If you look at Asia, they're also very prominent because they have a lot of services on their own, or they don't allow Western companies in their company. But look at Europe. Yeah, we are nowhere in this area. It's very important that you take your care of your own data, because that is the business model of the future. If you do everything with Facebook and LinkedIn, all that money goes to them. Yeah, so think about it, what we are doing. So here's a slide from Libelium, which is a startup, a very interesting startup in Spain, and they are producing these sensors. They produce all these different sensors, where you can see everything that you can apply already with these sensors, from measuring air pollution, wine quality enhancing, structural health, radiation levels, electromagnetic levels, smart lighting, water leakages, waste management, water quality, and so on. We can literally measure a lot of things, and this is great, because then we can see also what is going on, and we can find solutions for that, which is mainly what is going on now with air pollution and all that, and water pollution. We also have intelligent buildings. This is the example of the Edge in Amsterdam, which is currently the most intelligent building in the world. It's 95% sustainable. It recovers its rainwater to use as wastewater and all that. It's entirely connected. Every object has a sensor. The building literally knows when you come in with your car already. Every person who works in the building has an app and can decide what type of meetings he has, where he has them in a calendar. He can also look at the lighting. He can also look at the temperature and all that. So these type of buildings we will see more, and hopefully also in hospitals and health centers. Blockchain, another hype word. Yeah, we can see here some use cases that you can see in your area. How many of you are working already with blockchain? Okay. Yeah, so blockchain is definitely, it's still very early, but I believe it's the future of the internet. Why? Because it's decentralized. Yeah, now we are still living in a centralized world where basically a couple of companies can, own everything. And what the young generation is pushing for is decentralized. They don't want to live any longer in this centralized world. And technology will help us with that. I think the blockchain as it is now, it's not perfect. I think now I know already startups that are coding for the next level of blockchain, which is literally a new type of internet, where the people will own their own data. Yeah? And then they will decide actually what is happening with their data. Here you can see what is happening with, in your area, or the potential actually healthcare data exchange interoperability, claims and building management, drug supply, of course, clinical trials, and then cybersecurity. I'll give some examples. Pharma Trust is an example that actually creates the whole supply chain of what is happening with their drugs and all that, and how from when they are created to actually the whole distribution chain towards hospitals, online pharmacy towards the user, everything is connected. Yeah, and as a user or as the owner, you can follow any type of activity on this area or what is happening with your product. Medical chain is a very interesting one because they apply already what I just said. So the person or the patient is in the middle and he owns his own data. Yeah, so you can see here whether he can communicate with care providers, administration, government agency, employer, pharmacy, lab, doctor, and then the other ecosystem providers around. But the person decides when his data is exchanged and what type of data is exchanged. Yeah? Which is totally different than what we have now. Now basically all the players around you own your data, they sell it to anybody else and they make money with it. And this system is, to me, not sustainable in the future. Yeah? So also the young generation doesn't want this at all. So another example, I could give hundreds of examples here, is just this one, which is in the food chain, which is the same type of example, but in food industry, where you can actually see what comes in your plate, the quality of the food in your plate, by actually what has been used as chemicals or organic stuff to grow your crops, yeah, in your vegetables, yeah. What type of CO2 output has been used for the distribution of bringing, the food to your plate, and so on. So you can literally see the quality of your food. And with technology, we're going to be able to do that very quickly, very easily. 3D printing, which is another one. Here you see some example. We can literally 3D print everything already. From mycelium, we can 3D print chairs or furniture out of mycelium, which is a type of mushroom type of product. We can 3D print houses, we can 3D print steel, we can 3D print skin, we can 3D print organs, we can do a lot of things already. Also called regenerative medicine, if you heard about that. Here are a couple of examples of this company in Belgium, which is called Materialize. I think many of you know already. They are probably one of the most advanced in medical in the world, and they have this type of examples already. From saving a newborn with the support of 3D printing, groundbreaking printing splint restores baby breathing, and 3D printed heart models, and also 3D printed first face transplants, and then also hearing aids, for example. So 3D printing is really a good way for you, also especially in orthopedy and all that, to use. Online manufacturing. This startup is 3D Hubs, which started a couple of years ago, and what they do, they connect all the 3D printers in the world. Yeah, it's very easy for them to actually, you can go on their website, you can look for a design, or you can upload your own design and then look for the closest 3D printer in your area, which is great also to save lives in different areas of the world. Yeah. And they're all literally everywhere now. Biotech, nanotech, neuroscience, quantum computing, which is a lot in your area. So in genomics, we can literally do everything now. Everything is a big word, but we can edit the human genome. How many of you are on genomics? A couple of them, okay. We can do so many things now, which raises a lot of questions also about where we go as humanity. We can edit out human diseases. We can edit out cancer. Yeah. This is all very in an early stage, but what is happening is actually the next big leap in innovation is that biology becomes data. Yeah, we can now measure everything, we can see everything, we can edit everything. So what does that mean for us humans? Ethically, yeah, so how are we going to deal with that? I think that we are totally unprepared for it now. Yeah, so we have a couple of companies already like 23andMe. Who heard about 23andMe? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did my genetic test a couple of years ago in 2011, and I was so surprised. And actually, it's a very good thing because it's more about preventive type of medicine that we are moving to. This is the company from Peter Diamandis, Human Longevity. So what they do, they create huge data banks of the genetics of people. And then as a person, you can also, if you have a certain type of disease or if you're sensitive for a disease, you can link to other groups of people who also have the same type of disease to look for a preventive type of medicine. So genetics is also going to revolutionize your business. Yeah? Here we see a couple of the startups that are very important in this area. Freenome, which is heavily funded by Andreessen Horowitz and also by Google Ventures, is working on a new type of genetics and use genetics into blood tests, yeah, to also predict cancer in a much more precise and earlier way. So a child that is born today, on average, is estimated will live 142 years old with the technology and the science we have now. Yeah? People, they live a lot longer than they used to live. Yeah? So on a societal level, everything is going to change. We have children who's going to live a lot longer. We ourselves will live a lot longer. We are a lot healthier also than we used to be. But I don't hear any politician talking about this. These are really the problems that we have to think about for the future. Yeah? So we're going to have maybe 5 different generations of workforce on the work floor and still in a good shape. So how are we going to do? What are we going to do with this? Society is not prepared for this. Yeah. On the other hand, we have more and more great technology. This is a startup in Cambridge, Owlstone, and with this detector, they can detect lung cancer just on the composition of your chemicals in your breath. Yeah. So this is a good example of nanotechnology. But we have other nanotechnologies examples that can literally already go into your body, communicate with devices, and so on. So I see that in the next decade, the next 2 decades, that we're going to see tremendous innovation in your area. Yeah, probably with all these type of technologies. And in neuroscience also, we know more about the brain than we have ever known before. This is a slide from Neuralink from Elon Musk. You know that he founded this company actually to put in chips, implants in the brain, and will communicate with devices outside and eventually connect it to artificial intelligence. I think it's a very scary thought. I would not go there and I would not want to live there, but I think for health reasons, it can help. Yeah. So let's see how this is going to work out. I think it's still very early, but people are working on this now already. Alzheimer already, we have with AI, we can now predict Alzheimer 6 years ahead of the diagnosis, of the normal diagnosis that is done by doctors. Yeah, based on just the scans that we can do in the brain. So there is a tremendous increase of how we will treat certain type of diseases and find them. And quantum computing is the next wave of computing, which is 1,000,000 times faster than the fastest computer available today. Google is going to release this in 2 or 3 years. So if we think that everything is going fast now, it's going to go a lot faster. So we will be able to detect and find diseases a lot faster in overall also. So if you go to the health and life science trends in general, it's all about reducing cost. It's all about health tracking, preventing human errors, personalized medicine. We can more and more, prepare, whole databases and platforms with personalized type of solutions, assisting high-risk patients, human-centric health, precision medicine. Yeah, we can now do robotic surgery at such a precision that was never possible before. Machine learning powered. Yeah. Blockchain to make interoperability and trust the reality. And then also from sick care systems to real health. Yeah, more preventive type of medicines. So some things about digital transformation and devices. We have a lot of voice technology and digital assistants. Yeah, the technology becomes so good now that we will see a lot of innovation and solutions also there. This German audio profiling startup is called, they detect ADHD in children based on the voice of the child, yeah, with a 90% accuracy. So, and this is, they have been doing tests for the recent years. They get a lot of funding now because their findings are really breakthrough. So just on sound, we will be able to detect also even Alzheimer or other type of diseases. So, and if you look at the quality of the digital assistants from a visual perspective, yeah, I don't have the sound on this one, but even, we can now start using this type of digital assistants also, especially in health, to do prevention, to welcome enough patients and all that. There will be a lot of more, or also online, how we can track diseases or how we can start interactions and services with your patients. Because in the end, it's all going to be about the experience, from the starting point to the end point. So they become very good, yeah, also in voice and in visuals. And then on augmented, virtual, and mixed reality, we will see a lot of innovation also. Here you can see how virtual reality can be used in learning, for example, yeah. So we can go inside the body, we can use it for design. Walt Disney is using it to design its theme park. Ford is using it to design its cars. And the startups, a lot of startups are designing new interfaces also of like how we want to work together. Not really with a screen and a keyboard, but different type of interfaces, even with haptic design and movements will be new type of interfaces we will work with. So lots of opportunities in this area too. So digital innovations are helping to reshape the future care by making healthcare delivery more efficient and more accessible. Yeah, how is digital helping? You can see it here. Mainly diagnosis and treatment, quality, speed, accuracy, accelerating the development of the new drugs and devices, personalization, very important one, self-service also, patient experience and training. Yeah. If you look at a couple of, companies in this area, like Philips, for example, they call them meaningful health. They do meaningful health. They want to give more meaning to health. They take more time to the whole journey of the customer. Yeah. So also a lot is based on data. So they have this survey going on their website. Would you be willing to share data from your fitness apps and track as if it would help your doctor a more complete picture, yeah, of your health? And here's the result. 61% said yes, others say no. So I'm a total fan of this. Yeah. If I am in control of the data and they can learn from my data, I would definitely share it. Yeah, because I think data, we can see a lot more things much earlier, much better, more efficient than anybody else. So I think it's also about how we communicate to the client, how we communicate to the patient is going to be very important as an entire part of this experience. Yeah. And then data I asked a couple of my colleagues in health about how is data used in hospitals and all that, and they were all pretty pessimistic. Pessimistic in the sense that there was not a lot of data used, actually. Also because there's a lot of issues and maybe barriers on legislation or laws and all that. But if we ask the permission of the patient, we can do a lot of things. So, and also I think in hospitals, we need to design the hospitals based on data. People who are walking inside, what are the certain type of disease, what are the things that we can filter out of common or shared experiences from our patients and all that. So I think here this is just an example of like what could be, taken out of this is more from a managerial perspective, but I think we can do a lot more with data, yeah, to create better experiences, to also become more productive and more efficient. Here you can see a slide from what is actually important for the patient, yeah, from data activation, content strategy, yeah. Consumers want their healthcare and information and insight delivered in a personalized and engaging way. It's the same like you go on a travel website. You want to have you want a good experience. It has to be good design. It has to be talking to you personal. The same has to go for health. Yeah. Also intelligent services, like be a step further away that the client or the patient thinks. Clinical trial recruitment, sales model transformation of like what can you do with all this leads online and all that, and then workflow enablement. So I think data is really a big key for future growth in your area. And if you see that the companies that are doing this good or that are using data for good, they are the winners of today. Oscar, how many of you know Oscar? Wow, I'm still surprised. I showed this slide already like 5 years ago and they just started. Yeah, and every time I keep asking it, and I'm so surprised that people as you don't know this. This is like the biggest disruptor in your business, especially in health insurance. But what they do, they link everything, all the apps, all your devices, your fitness tracking and all that, and they link it to new type of insurance policy. The fitter you are, the less you pay. So they are really applying already the model of the future. But what they are really excelling in is the customer experience. Everything is so fluid, everything is so easy that they are taking customer by customer away from the older insurance companies who are totally numb in this. Yeah, so and this is, you need to follow like what is going on in your area. You need to follow what is going on in your business. Here you can see a slide of like the startups in 2019. Yeah, in digital health. This is from CB Insights. I can share some sources with you of like where you can find all these startups, and then the next level is like, okay, out of these startups following, who are the ones that are actually progressing very good and on a very good level. But you can see they are in every area. Digital therapeutics, pharma supply chain, insurance and benefit, genomics, consumer health and wellness, diagnostics, imaging, pathology, real-world evidence, clinical trials, drug discovery, clinical tools, specialty care, primary care, and so on. In every area, you have startups that specialize, and what they are really good at, they focus just on a narrow focus of a certain specific area in your industry. And they're going to do that a lot better and a lot faster than most people of you can. So we need more intuitive and personalized ecosystems. Yeah? This is what data does. So we need more like holistic and longitudinal patient data sets. Yeah? Not just the data of when they are sick or when they are coming to your place. You need connected data of what is their pattern, how do they live, how do they move, what do they eat, yeah? Do they travel a lot? Are they in good physical condition? What is their activities? Yeah? Advanced analytics and AI personalization engines to generate insights for patients and their community of caregivers. We need more a continuum of care interaction models ranging from digital solutions to close-to-home services and traditional facilities based on individual needs, device-enabled autonomous care and cognitive engagement, real-time refinement or individualized care solutions, and then seamless integration of monitoring and care for clinical caregivers, community structures, and family members. So this is literally the future that you see in front of you. If you can apply this, you're going to be very good in the future. I can guarantee you that. Here's a slide from my friend Frank Diana, fellow futurist. Also here you can see all the technologies that we know already from internet, to social, mobile, cloud, big data, and then all the exponential technologies that I talked about. And then here you can see all the, new scenarios. And in the middle you can see all the scenarios you probably have not heard about. Yeah, like quantum computing, material science, aquaphonics and all that. So lots of these technologies are just like in the lab still. But what is for sure that technology creates a tremendous, speed and opportunity and change in everything we do. The great thing is also when you start combining certain type of areas, certain type of technologies, you will always see new opportunities. You will always see new opportunities in certain areas. And then here's a slide also that with the societal impact, because as we progress, there's also a lot of societal questions that we need to address. Emerging middle class, or also middle class is not progressing any longer in certain Western economies. We have 5 generations of people on the work floor. How are we going to deal with that? We have a decline in fertility rates. This is an alarming thing, that is going on. We have a really decline in fertility rates everywhere. I talked with a gynecologist, a friend of mine lately, and he said it's really dramatic how everything is going down. Why? Because we are not living lives anymore we used to live. Everything is like work. We go to work, it's stress. We have to pick up the children. Yeah, so we forget to live, actually. And so we cannot create life if we are not living. Yeah? So to follow all this. And then we have all the newcomers, like Amazon, all these technology companies who are actually coming in your area. Google, Apple, even Facebook, they're all coming in your area of the health sector. And Amazon just released this new healthcare company that they launched, that they're going to start providing health services for their own employees. I tell you, this is just like a beta set or a beta launch for a lot of things to come, because they're going to expand this to other companies with other services. Why can they do that? Because they have all the data. Yeah? Data is really key. And because they have the data, they can look at patterns, they can look for new opportunities, and that's what they do. When they see an opportunity, they go into it. So my idea of the future is that you have you have 3 ways basically. On the left, you can see the dystopian future. Technology will rule us. Fear is not the right driver. You have a lot of these people that, everything is technology. Technology is ruling us. Oh, the robots are going to take over and all that. I am not like that. On the other hand, you have all the utopian ones. Technology will save us, like more in singularity and all that. Singularity University, you have a lot of them. Yeah. And so they believe blindly that technology is going to save us. Yeah, but no, it's true. So I believe in a conscious future where we have to decide, based on our human values, what we do with technology, and use technology for good, to create a good humanity, good society. Yeah. So on the other hand, also there's a whole new generation that is coming that is moving towards natural medicine in the end. Yeah? They go to preventive medicine, they go to natural healing, they go to meditation, they go to wellness, they go to mindfulness. So, and a lot of the people, the young generation and new generation, they go into these areas because all of the old areas don't work any longer, especially from a mental health perspective. Yeah, they don't believe in taking pills because they don't really help, right? They just help taking away the pain, but they don't really solve the problem, or the cause of the problem, or the root of the problem. So there's a lot of people, a lot of communities that go in these areas, and I see this as one of the biggest trends also coming, that most people are not seeing as of now. So here is a slide from Tony Robbins, the Pyramid of Mastery, which is the Pyramid of Life. Yeah? And I find this such a great slide. Why? Because we see here, everything starts with physical body. You have to be in a good physical body, good condition to go upwards in life. You need emotions and meaning and relationships in your life. Yeah, but most people are here. Time, career, mission, finances. And if you're really good, you can have contribution and spirituality. The problem with our society is, that 50% of the people burn out in Western societies. 50%. That's half of the country. And that is because they are not doing this. They are not fit. Yeah. They don't have any emotions and meaning in their life any longer. They are not doing what they really want. They are not connected to their work or to their values. And then relationships. They don't have any relationships anymore. Everything is online. Everything is social media, especially in cities. This is dramatic for our society. Yeah. So we need to stay focused on the bottom line. Yeah. We need to stay focused on the bottom line. Yes, this is one of my last slides. So, and then we can move to the next level. So, but this is very important. So we need to move more from ego to soul. Yeah? In the left part, you can see all the creation of the ego mind, the industrial society. Yeah? Everything is for me, the corporations, greed, all the worst types that we can see in humanity, we see on the left. And we need to move more to the things on the right. Yeah? From mind to heart, from security to creativity. We create fear to people with the media. If you listen to the media, the world is going to burn every day. So the first thing I always say to people, stop watching the media, stop reading the news. Yeah. So we need to move more towards a connected mind, heart, and body type of future, and which we will do also, which we called conscious business. There's my last slide, sorry. I think there's a timer on here. I'm supposed to say something here. Sorry. So here you can see another one of basically what is happening. Most people, they just react to output of what is happening from the outside, and then they apply change. Yeah, they do that by learning, designing, creating, producing, operating, growing. Yeah, so but they all focused on behavior, capabilities, and how to change the environment around them. But the real transformation is happening above the line. It's about changing your values and beliefs, changing identity, changing purpose. That's where the real transformation is happening. And this is where we need to move for the next level of change. And here you can see that also in future scenarios, from the attributes of the classical inventor to the classical business to the corporation where we are now, and we need to move more to the art of social business. Yeah? And it's already happening, because we see already recently 181 big corporations in the US, they actually dropped the shareholder first principle, which was all about profit first. So now they also want to contribute to a better society. So there is a global change going on in the mindset of how we approach living and life. So we do that by creating conscious business models, which is based on the startup canvas model. And where we design actually based on human values. We integrate futurism, conscious futurism. We work with personas. We bring in value propositions. We bring in UN sustainability development goals, exponential technologies. We bring in new economies, partnerships for exponential business, and so on. So when you apply this model to your business, you come out with a really good, sustainable model for the future. Also a very human model. So leading in the age of consciousness is all about personal transformation, thinking holistically about your business, focus on human values and human capital, rethink your business model based on data, build your strategy around platforms, design with ethical value, Embrace your technological acumen, invest in technology even more, innovate rapidly and openly, and then learn more from your data. Focus on purpose, people, products. Commit to 100% renewable energy. I know it's a tough one, but when you start with it, it can help already. Go to 0% 100% zero waste, sorry, and then think in ecosystems. I thank you very much.
O nosso segundo orador convidado é CEO do AIT Health. Apaixonado pela transformação dos cuidados de saúde, tem como objetivo principal ultrapassar as necessidades dos cidadãos europeus com vista à entrega de soluções com potencial para transformar os resultados em saúde de toda a Europa. Bem-vindo a palco, Sr. Jan Philip Beck.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I almost spoiled the choreography here. Very good to be here. Thank you very much, Nuno and Philippa, for inviting me to speak at this fascinating conference. I like the title. I like that it's Health Intelligent Talks. I hope I can live up to this expectation. I will do my very best. It's a great opportunity to talk to you about innovation, about collaboration in health innovation, and I'm also pleased that I will have the opportunity to introduce the EIT Health to you, which I'm working for. So, I should click here, I can click. So my name is Jan Philip Beck. I'm the CEO of one of the European Institutes of Innovation and Technologies, Knowledge and Innovation Communities, and what we are doing is we are building a collaborative community for innovation in healthcare. Now, many of you are scientists, so for scientists I think it's always important and key to establish what are we talking about. So we believe in innovation, but do we actually understand its nature? So allow me to do just a short little excursion. So of course, the first piece that we need is discovery. So we want to find out something new that is not yet known, and I think there was a lot of that in the previous presentation connected to new inventions, new technologies, things that will allow us to do stuff differently. But what we have to do is to work on translation, so we need a process that can help us to turn those discoveries, those inventions into actual innovation. And that is when it reaches the people, when it creates meaning. I think that's what we heard, when these things are put to use. And that's the space where EIT Health is active. We try to identify unmet needs and to help that process of translation to create innovation. So that means that excellent science and research are, of course, the necessary ingredients, but they are not sufficient for innovation alone. And now we have heard a great deal about the fantastic future that's ahead of us. To illustrate this principle, I just want to take you back to 1928 at St. Mary's Hospital in London. And now I will actually also want to try this amazing pointer. Mine doesn't work as fantastic as the previous one. Sad, I was planning for this one. So this is Alexander Fleming. Right? And Alexander Fleming, he's the one, as all of you know, who discovered penicillin, probably one of those discoveries that in the end is responsible for, partially responsible for a lot of the steep increase that we showed in the previous slides on life expectancy, because this is probably the foundations of one of the greatest therapeutic advances in the 20th century, being antibiotics, the possibility to treat infections. Now, Fleming discovered it in 1928, so that's in the box number 1, and he was very well aware of its therapeutic potential. But then it took his colleagues, Hintt and Florey at Oxford University, to actually try to really purify this and actually produce it to try to actually treat patients. But also they did not, as many of you know, fully succeed. It was not possible to produce penicillin in the right quantities, and it was also not, it was therefore not possible to actually treat patients. The two of them moved to the US and engaged there with great pharma. So big names that we still know, Merck, Lilly, Pfizer, and of course also the government that got involved. And they were the ones that were able to then help manufacture, purify, scale with great knowledge in chemistry and engineering and so on. So those, that actually then brought us to the space where penicillin helped patients, first and foremost actually soldiers in World War II and later all of us. So was Fleming a great innovator? Well, in our terminology, not. He was a fantastic inventor, but it still brought him the Nobel Prize, of course. So do we now have a problem in Europe with regard to innovation? And I just want to show you a few pieces on that. So what is the state of research and innovation in Europe today? Well, I think first, a very small excursion to macroeconomics. I think we have relatively low growth in productivity if we compare it with the US, but also in regions in Asia. And that is one of the sometimes, I think, underestimated reasons why we see relatively slow diffusion of innovation. And I think we all experience that, for example, with digitalization. So that is an issue. We are leading in science, no doubt about that. Still more than a third of all top high impact papers, if we take that as a measure around the globe, a third are coming from what's today the European Union, so we have excellent scientific capability. But we are an absolute follower in entrepreneurship. I think in the previous presentation it also came out. The top 15 companies by market cap are in the US, none of them in Europe, and so we are a follower in that regard. We are also falling behind in business R&D. If we look at the percentage that is spent as a percent of GDP, in business R&D, I think we're at about 1.3% in Europe. We have someone here from South Korea. You're above 3. The US is somewhere in the middle. So this is an issue. This is an issue for Europe that has to be tackled. We are totally outstripped in terms of venture capital, as many of you know. I mean, we only have a fifth of the capabilities compared to the US market. That's also a reason why we almost force a number of entrepreneurs to go to the US if we want them to grow their business, which is something that we also need to try to change. And then the role of our universities. We have fantastic universities in Europe, but their capability to support entrepreneurship is limited. I think out of the 150 top companies that recently IPO'd, those 146 of those entrepreneurs call their alma mater a university in the US and not a European one. And I think it also has to do with the capability of many American schools to support entrepreneurship much better than we do in Europe. And finally, also not to be underestimated, then when we use our resources, we are not good enough at it. We do put too much investment into what you may call zombie firms, so firms that show very poor distribution, very poor performance, and therefore we sometimes suffer from a poor distribution of resources. So is it all hopeless? Of course, it's not hopeless. There is underutilized potential. I think we have a high level education and a solid academic base in Europe, of course. We also, historically, are a powerhouse of research and of science. We have great hospitals. We actually have a healthcare system that we may call a healthcare system, and we also have high-quality public service. We have fantastic corporations and SMEs, nonetheless, and we have a very long and good tradition of excellent product development in Europe. So, given those assets and those challenges, what is the European response? Now, there are many responses, but of course, what the European Commission has done about 10 years ago, and I think too few people know about that, is we've created the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. And that is a family of knowledge and innovation communities. Health is one of them. All of them bring together key actors from different places in Europe that can contribute with innovation. And actually, most of the challenges, the societal challenges we heard from Rudy in the previous presentation are addressed. We're looking at food, we're looking at climate, looking at digital infrastructure, we're looking at the future of mobility, and of course, we are looking at EIT health that I would like to talk to and introduce to you today. Now, EIT Health is a network of health innovators. They cluster in all those areas where we have put the dots here on the map. That's also where we have our offices and facilitation teams. Glint is also part of this network. My office is in that pink dot where we try to coordinate that space. So whom have we brought together? It's more than 100 partners to date that are working with us, 43 of them coming from industry, 44 top universities. We have healthcare providers, we have research organizations involved, very important. We have the payers, we also have incubators and accelerators, and of course we have the cities and the regions. And I think those are, in terms of capabilities, also the ingredients that you need to make innovation happen, so to bring the possibilities of new technology that we've heard so much about to the people where it can actually create tangible impact. Now let's benchmark that community just a little bit. So if we look at the industry that's involved, and I'm just taking the top 40 companies, medtech and pharma by market cap, 6 of the top 10 are in EIT Health, 16 of the top 40 globally are also in our network, which I think is a great base. We also connect investors to our networks, very important, as we have heard before, also to connect them cross-border. And the investor network now, if we take the investors there together, are managing funds of 2.6 billion euros. We also have fantastic organizations that are supporting business acceleration and incubation. 3 of the top 10 are part of EIT Health. Very important are healthcare providers. I believe many also hospitals are here in the audience. That's key to reach patients. If we take them all together, that are the coverage all together of those that are organized in EIT Health, we count roughly about 48 million. I think it should be even broader because I think healthcare providers today probably don't only understand patients as their reference group, but probably a population around them that they are serving in a future healthcare scenario. We have very innovative universities, so the top ones in Europe in terms of tech transfer and actual output are engaged. And finally, of course, also the universities by the Times Higher Education ranking, the top 4, and half of those in the top 20 globally are part of the network. Now, what do we do? What are our goals as a community? There are 3 ones, I think, that will resonate very well with you. The first one is we want to accelerate innovation that can help us to make healthcare systems more sustainable and make them resilient to future change. I think that is very important. We have in Europe a healthcare system with the aspiration to provide universal access and coverage, and that is something that is worth preserving. We want to promote the better health for citizens. And that, of course, means, as we've also heard before, a strong shift also towards supporting preventative approaches. It's a strong focus also on how we can better manage non-communicable diseases, for example. And we want to contribute to economic growth as well. So we think that, of course, business is part of the equation to deliver those innovations, and we think we want to strengthen European businesses in particular to make also our economy stronger and to create high quality jobs. Now, how do we approach that? And I think it's very important to underline that it is not a technology push approach, but it starts by bringing together first and foremost the citizens and patients, providers, healthcare providers, not only the big academic centers, also general practitioners, and also those that are paying for healthcare, and to identify unmet needs. We then connect the triangle of research, of businesses, and also of education to embark on needs-driven innovation processes. And I will tell you a little bit more and also give you some examples what that looks like concretely. And in the middle is EIT Health, a little bit like a spider in the web, trying to orchestrate that process and in the end define a valuable pipeline of projects. Now, our work then centers, broadly speaking, around in four different distinct areas. So on the one hand, we facilitate innovation, and we do that also by supporting innovators with access to knowledge, access to the network, but also with funding, of course. We support collaboration across borders, so we connect them by linking innovators in projects across business, research, education, as I have explained before. We create tangible results, and I will also give you some examples about new products, services, but also organizational innovation that we want to see being implemented in healthcare settings. And we support education. I think that is a very important piece of the equation as well, that we need to take people along, and we also need to innovate and change our education systems. So these areas we translate into three pretty distinct program lines. So in our EIT Health campus, we are innovating education, but we're also educating innovators. So we're working with students, with professionals, with entrepreneurs, and those places where they're educated, like the institutions of higher education, to see that we can change the way we are doing education. And the advance, for example, of new technologies, of artificial intelligence, all the amazing things we've talked about, if we want to utilize their potential and if we want to support their adoption, we also need to make sure that we can instill that in our education systems. We have 40 offerings at the moment for possibilities for people to get engaged in courses and various offers. The innovation projects is basically our portfolio of projects where we bring industry, healthcare providers, startups, and so on together to work on the acceleration of innovation processes and to really implement new products and services into a healthcare system, test it, scale it, generate the evidence that things are working to make sure that we can attract the right investment to help to diffuse them. And finally, in our area of business creation, we call it the EIT Health Accelerator. We create a lot of opportunities for startups all the way from their early incubation throughout the growth process. And we don't only support with funding, but we support with access to network, with access to validation environments, to hospitals, to living labs and test beds, to investors. So all the ingredients that you need to make that very, very hard and challenging journey of creating something that actually helps citizens and patients. Now, also very important to know, so how is it funded? Our 2020 business plan has a volume of 435 million euros total cost of the activities and projects that we will be undertaking. 78% of that is a commitment of our partners, both in cash but also in kind resources that they are bringing to the table. And we are adding about 22% of that from the European budget and inject that into those most impactful projects to accelerate that. So this is, I think, is an impressive number, and it also shows the power of the community that we have brought together. Now, what we achieved so far, 2016 was our first year, so we are about 3.5 years out there. We've supported 400 young companies. We've helped them to attract about 90 million euros of early stage investments. More than 30 new products and services made it through the market as a result of our projects. We trained thousands of graduates and professionals along the way. Now, I like to talk about FibriCheck. That's Bieke van Gorp. That's one of the team members of FibriCheck. FibriCheck is a fantastic company. What they did is they developed an algorithm to monitor arterial fibrillation, initially with the camera of your phone. And it's a tough journey. So they had a fantastic technology there. We helped them along the way to actually get regulatory approval. And last year, it was a key step to get approval at the FDA, be one of the first companies that achieved approval for an algorithm as a medical device. And they have moved on. You may know that now some of you that have a new Apple Watch you actually have this kind of function implemented. You can monitor sort of an EEG kind of thing. That's a competitor to FebriCheck, but I was very happy to learn this week that FebriCheck, so one of our companies here now, managed to conclude a deal with Fitbit to also to implement their technology there, which I think is a fantastic story. So these guys are coming from the Netherlands, and we supported them from very, very early on to make their journey, and they are quite successful now. So altogether, we're supporting healthy lives for Europeans. We believe that innovation is an important ingredient to that. Now, Henry Ford, maybe I should have found a European to quote, but this was just too good, so I took this. So coming together is the beginning, staying together is progress, and then working together is actually success. So I want to talk a little bit about collaboration and why it is so important and when we should make use of it in healthcare, because I think collaboration can help us to create what we need for ecosystems to function. And that is, I think ecosystems need common purpose, they need trust amongst those actors, and they also need the right frameworks and funding. And all of that we can provide in EIT Health, and we can help making collaboration in healthcare work. Now, we are dealing with tremendously complex problems, and we've heard about that before. Aging population, we're not only living longer, the challenge is to make sure that we are living also healthier. So we are struggling with increasing rates of chronic diseases. We need to move to more prevention, not only treatment. So collaboration is required when we are tackling complex problems, and I just want to walk you through that for a moment. So first of all, we should collaborate. We should collaborate when we have a large number of stakeholders involved, when the solution requires also a sector-wide change of behavior, and when we can adopt a win-win view of problem solving. And I think for many, many problems in healthcare, this is absolutely very much the case, and we have a strong rationale for working together. And the advantages, of course, along the way is that through collaboration, we can achieve higher stakeholder commitment. We can eventually also come maybe to better solutions through that, maybe due to the fact that we are involving people earlier along the way, and they develop a better understanding for the problem and therefore achieve also higher relevance. And then we might actually need fewer resources by each stakeholder. But also, there are challenges of collaboration, and we should be very, very aware of them, and we should also make a choice for collaboration very consciously, because in some cases it might not be the best choice and you just don't want to embark on it. Because collaboration, of course, increases, first of all, transaction costs. If you take EIT Health, our projects are European, they are stretching across many geographies, people need to be proficient in different languages, you interact in different cultural environments. Those are costs, right? And that's not only the plane ticket, that's also the time that you spend on it. So you make sure that the advantages outweigh the costs or the potential ones. You need skills for collaboration. That is something that we address also with our training and education efforts, but it doesn't necessarily come natural to everyone. And a lot of companies, a lot of organizations are not built for engaging in external innovation processes. And of course then, if you are not addressing these properly, the whole thing can end pretty poorly, and you might do more damage to it than you actually do good by potentially also hurting your reputation. So you want to make a careful assessment on when collaboration can be a good choice. Now, I think in healthcare, I try to put a few things together where I believe that collaboration should be a very, very good thing to do and where it's worth making the effort. And those are also many of the cases where our projects focus on. So first of all, I think when the innovation challenges kind of the current environment and will require significant change management for the implementation, and I believe that I think many of you are dealing also with the implementation, for example, of IT, of digital solutions in healthcare, maybe more traditional healthcare environments. Probably in many cases, it's not even the technology that's the biggest challenge. Probably in many cases, the biggest challenge is to make sure that you get everyone on board, that you manage that across different departments, that you get people out of their silos and committed. In those cases, I think collaboration can make a lot of sense because you might be able to work together to create your solution, and through that already get people on board before you are done. Same, of course, is of course true for innovations where you dramatically change the patient's or the customer's experience. And I think in those cases, it can make a lot of sense to make sure that through collaboration you engage patients early and to get feedback, to make sure that you can get people's buy-in. In the previous presentation, data was shown on where would people be ready to share their data, for example, for certain purposes. Well, 40%, 45%, I think, were against that, right? So I think if we have an innovation that builds on this, we need to make sure we try to take people along. Also, collaboration, I think, is absolutely essential if you want to do new business models. And I think Nuno spoke at the beginning about moving towards more value-based healthcare models. Now, that is a challenging piece to do. You want to establish what the value is. You need to establish consensus around how do you measure this value. And if you want to attach a business model to it, I think it's very good to get the stakeholders involved. And finally, I think if you require the access to a lot of distributed data to make it work, you probably also want to make sure that you get people on board early. And finally, this is a little bit of a no-brainer, but if your innovation requires the adjustment of guidelines or regulation, you want to make sure that you get regulators on board early. And in EIT Health, we, for example, have a think tank where we bring in evidence from projects to policymakers and regulators, and we discuss. And I think for this, a platform can be very good, because if you are advancing that as one company, there might be challenges that you are facing with the regulators or policymakers, but if you aggregate that across the community and you bring challenges to the table, it might be much more effective. So now let me conclude by just giving you just 2 examples on how we work, and maybe they sound much less amazingly futuristic compared to what we have heard before, but they are already very real, and that's maybe also an advantage. So the rehabilitation and gaming system is a solution that will be brought to market by a small company called Iodyne, and it's looking at supporting people with rehabilitation after stroke at home. The system has already been validated in clinical use, but what we are doing is we are moving it to the home so that people can use it independently. It builds on tons of things, also artificial intelligence and machine learning and all of these things. That's fantastic. But what's very important here is that we have proven clinical impact. And I think that is a very important precondition to get many of your buy-in for actual implementation. So the team has worked over 5 years, even before it came into the network, to show that there's this evidence that what we are using actually works. We'll integrate it fully into the care pathway. So it's not something that is sitting there sort of standalone, but it's something that is fully integrated with the rehab center or with the hospital, so that the clinicians can fully monitor what patients are doing at home in a semi-supervised setting. There's also built-in diagnostics and evaluation tools to really measure objectively patient progress. So you don't only set them up on a certain path and then you see them weeks after, but you can actually monitor all the time, even in outpatient, on their progress, and you can obtain feedback. And that, I think, will also help to get a better understanding around outcomes and to measure outcomes, which will also be subject, of course, to connect it to health economic indicators that we will be looking at in a study in 2020 connected to this project. And finally, so Iodyne is the company that brings it, but again, there's a strong consortium behind it of research organizations that are involved, that have done a lot to actually develop the technology. Healthcare providers are involved, and of course also the region of Uppsala in Sweden, well, this will be rolled out in a community setting. So you have a lot of these pieces in the project that are not only technology focused, but also about actually testing it in a setting, obtaining patient feedback, obtaining the feedback of the carers to hopefully increase the possibilities of success for Eodyne to take this forward. And finally, I want to speak about an example of education. We have a fellowship program where Glint is also involved as one of the company partners. And what we do is we take master students, PhD program students, and actually connect them to real industry challenges, to companies that are serving healthcare providers, to identify real challenges, and to then they go through a 1-year program where you really look at, based on solid methodology, how can you identify these problems, how can you really qualify and quantify them, and how can you address them with innovation, how can you develop that together with those that are owning the need. And I think we will have the concluding workshop of this year's edition soon here in Portugal. I think it's a fantastic program that is creating great opportunities for a new generation of innovators in healthcare. So that concludes my presentation. I hope that I could give you a little bit of a flavor of what we do in EIT Health, what kind of organization we are. If you are interested in getting involved, please approach me. We are a member-based network, and we are always curious to also get new members and players involved. Thank you very much for your time and for listening to me this morning, and I wish you a great conference. Thank you.
A nossa terceira oradora vem de longe, mais precisamente da Coreia do Sul. Em substituição de Jacob Choi, a nossa oradora também pertence à equipa do Samsung Medical Center, um hospital de referência mundial que mudou o paradigma da medicina com a implementação de conceitos avançados centrados no paciente e no seu bem-estar. Miss Shaw lidera a estratégia de IT do Samsung Medical Center. Bem-vinda ao Hintt.
Bom dia a todos. It's my great honor to be here. Thank you. It's my great honor to be here to introduce Samsung Medical Center. My name is Hyo-jung and came to replace Mr. Jong-soo Choi, the original speaker and my boss. What I want to share with you today are the innovation and the future of our systems. So it will be more practical than the previous two topics, specialized in hospital area. South Korea briefly. According to Google, it takes over 15 hours from Seoul to Lisbon, but it took me just 14 hours this time, so Google doesn't seem to be working these days hard. Portugal and Korea are about the same size, but the population in Korea is 5 times more than Portugal, so the medical environments may be slightly different. What about the hospitals in Korea? There are 36,000 hospitals in Korea, which of 42 tertiary general hospital, 42 are tertiary general hospital. Among these, the top 5 hospitals are called Big 5, including SMC. The total reimbursement of these 5 hospitals account for 8% of Korea. Let me start with the basics of SMC. Since opening in 1994, SMC has expanded by establishing Comprehensive Cancer Center, Proton Therapy Center, and so on. This is an actual appearance of SMC. The beds are almost 2,000, and about 200 surgeries are performed in 56 operating rooms a day. There are a lot of ICU beds because of the high rates of seriously ill patients. The number of employees are about this. This slide shows a figure indicating hospital scale. Nearly 10,000 outpatients are treated per day, with nearly 600 new patients. Looking at the number of inpatient and almost 200 beds, 2,000 beds, you can find out there are very few empty beds. The average length of stay can tell the patient turnover is higher than Europe's. Now, let me explain our system. When it opened in 1994, we had already had a dose-based hospital information system. We carried out the next generation project twice, in 2003 and 2016. I'll mention only big changes in this history. Since 2000, all doctors have entered prescription into the system. The first next generation project in 2003 was a change from DOS to Windows system. We integrated, separated all systems, and users were able to view all data with sign-in only once. Full list and digitalization were the main strategies. In 2016, the strategy was smartification. Based on the patient experience and the knowledge of healthcare professionals, we tried to create an environment capable of 360-degree view of patient. At present, the system is being upgraded. The system name is Darwin, which means that The system should evolve for patient safety and operational efficiency. This is a conceptual diagram of the whole systems. The middle area is for operations, including clinical things and insurance claim. The analysis system is divided into two areas. One is clinical data for physicians, and the other is operational data for executives. The top line is for connecting to the outside and includes a web portal and homepage and mobile service. The Western style system architecture is that it has a database, so it's difficult to ensure interoperability. On the other hand, SMC's all processes are streamlined on one database without time latency. Now let's take a look at what ID system supports based on the patient journey. Firstly, before visiting, the key point here is patient engagement. A patient make an appointment to visit the hospital. As you can see in the upper black window, we've been running a reservation system since 1994, DOS-based system. While most new patients still come via phone or front desk, the booking rates through homepage and mobile are still increasing. Sometimes doctors need to change or cancel their appointment for personal reason or medical societies. In this case, we send a notification text to the patient scheduled on that date. Then the patient can change their appointments by selecting one alternative date after a brief patient authentication. This reduces the burden on call center. As we are a tertiary general hospital, most of the patients are coming from primary and secondary hospital. If bringing a CD or USB for their test result images, it'll take over 30 minutes to process the data. However, if uploading it to the homepage in advance, the data is stored as EMR, so the medical staff can check it already and the patient won't waste time. Now I'll show you how ID system supports when the patient arrives at the hospital. Unlike most of Europe, the doctors couldn't spend enough time with their patients in Korea. So that's why it's our goal to ensure everything other than treatments is done by patients themselves. When arriving near the outpatient clinic, you can notify the staff you are arriving and waiting via mobile. There's an electronic display in front of the doctor's room, so you can see your turn and waiting time. We are also developing a service displaying the same screen on the mobile, so therefore you don't need to keep looking at the screen sitting there anymore. Some departments, such as cardiovascular clinic, need to check blood pressure before treatments. Waiting for your turn, you can check your own by yourself and send it to EMR. Also, for some departments, there are lots of surveys to be checked before examination. Patient can fill in these surveys on mobile device. Unlike paper questionnaires, the medical staff don't need to enter the result to the system once again. It makes doctor can only focus on reviewing the test result, not taking it. Now let's move the point of view from patient to the doctors. This is a screen when the physician sign into Darwin. They can see the patient list at a glance. This screen shows a list of outpatients for that date. The owner of this screen has 32 patients reserved for around 2 hours. So 32 people and for 2 hours. So can anyone calculate how many minutes per person? Anyone? Don't ask your phone. Please do it in your head. Yeah, it's just 3 to 4 minutes per one person. So I think it's too tight schedule without, that would be impossible without IT support. If you click on patient, the patient summary screen will display like this. So the basic information is fixed on the left side, and all summary histories are displayed on the right side. Timeline shows the treatment information for each point since the first visit. It helps doctor not waste time looking for patient history. The important thing on the left side is caution information section. These tiles, especially orange, is the safety information that doctors need to be aware of. For example, a patient who underwent implant surgery shouldn't have an MRI scan, so it's a really important information to the doctor. Can anyone read the record in the middle? It's a medical record. So I think even the doctor who wrote this never read again, maybe. So fortunately, this kind of problem was solved by EMR. This is the electronic medical charting EMR screen. So for this feature, our doctors asked for paper writing style UI is too picky. So we made it able to write, draw, and mark like a real paper. The next step after charting is prescribing. You can enter in single line. You can enter the single line, and if you need to calculate the dosage based on weight, you can enter the details screen and calculate the dosage automatically. When prescribing, the system provides guides and alerts by these three: government guideline, commercial product, and internal pharmacy database. So each alert is shown in different colors according to the severity level. Now, let's take a look at the system for inpatient care. This is the screen for nurse and, this is a list of outpatient list and the modified early warning score. So if it's red, the emergency medical team rushes to the patient. This screen is for nurse and designed for nursing activities. The checklist on the right side have the same data for ward, emergency room, and operating room to consistent patient care. This is a PDA system to care patient with RFID. So after taking the barcode on patient wristband, the nurse can enter various nursing activities. Let me tell you a little bit about emergency room. The dashboard at the top is for the doctors, and the status board at the bottom is for patients. In the emergency room, most patients are forced to wait without knowing what's going on, so they can ask, anyone looks like a staff, what should I do? So the status board can help patients understand their current status in ER. There are additional areas that ID supports. We get consent from patients electronically. The work for paper-based hospital is still ongoing. You can also pay on mobile app and send a prescription to nearby pharmacy. So you don't have to worry about losing your prescription and don't need to wait to get the medicine there. We have a web portal for partner hospital for referral. The local hospital can check the status and medical record of the referral patients. Therefore, they can ensure continuity of medical service when the patient returns to their hospital. This increases the quality of medical service and patient loyalty. Now, I'd like to move on mobile EMR. We introduced mobile EMR in 2003. It's been steadily developing to the present Darwin M, launched in 2016, like this. When you sign into Darwin M, you can see the patient list and their vital sign. Because of quick and easy access to the patient information, doctors use it especially before rounds. The test result, images, and the EMR documents are available on mobile anywhere and anytime. A project is underway to allow other hospitals to use our mobile app in the cloud. So now I'll show you which IT services are for patients and their families. Can anyone guess what the black cat last comments? Anyone know? Yeah, he said he's not looking at his phone. Yeah, nowadays everyone is looking at their smartphone except when they sleep. So that's why we are trying to make everything possible on mobile. In the mobile app, you can find a doctor, make an appointment, view the test result, payments, and so on. Recently, the homepage has been added a new function of medical charting, or medical records self-printing without visit to hospital. This is the information prescription. So throughout the patient journey, the medical staff can send information prescription. So it helps the patient easily understand their treatments and how to do self-care. Let's move on analytics. I think the basic concept of analytics is almost the same. Collect, share, and use data. This strategy is announced by US Healthcare Agency. So our system is also designed for that strategy. The operation data is copied to the data store daily, and then extracted and loaded to the data warehouse by topics. And last, the researchers assess the data warehouse and build their database by themselves. It's the CW screen, the clinical data warehouse. Search for the required data in the left menu and drag and drop the parameter value of the result, then the graph is automatically generated. This is a dashboard for executives. So this dashboard is showing hospital management index. So it is analyzed by EDW, Enterprise Data Warehouse. This is the last part. What does the SMC's future hold? Our next strategies are these 9 smart things. So I'll briefly explain 3 things among these: smart words, smart cooperation, and smart office. This is an image of smart ward that monitors vital signs for 24 hours without waking the patient through the wearable devices. This is a smart cooperation, so digital pathology. It maybe have already been applied to your hospital already, but the different point is that we transmit and diagnose in real time over 5G networks. The last one is this is a smart office that mobile replaces PC and all wired environments. So that concludes my presentation. However, I'd like to summarize what I've said so far. Looking back on 25 years of ID history, the first next generation is focused on digitalization. And then in the second next generation project, we focused on patient-centered 360-degree views. Now, we are trying to be a smart hospital by combining emerging technologies with our experience, our know-how. I think the role of ID team is to constantly think about how to achieve operational efficiency and patient safety. So we are playing that role now. Yeah, I hope my presentation is good reference for your future, and I sincerely appreciate for your attention today. If anyone have question about us or needs more things, then please contact us, especially my boss. Yeah. So, muito obrigada. Thank you.
O Prémio Saúde Hintt, Maturidade Digital, pretende reconhecer e divulgar as melhores práticas de adoção das tecnologias de informação e comunicação, com vista a melhorar a prestação de cuidados de saúde ao nível da segurança do doente, apoio à decisão clínica e eficiência global. Para apresentar a segunda edição deste prémio, chamamos a palco o presidente do júri, José Martins Nunes, alto comissário para a saúde global até maio de 2019 e chefe de serviço de anestesiologia no Centro Hospitalar e Universidade de Coimbra.
Excelentíssimos senhores, hoje esta nossa intervenção poderia ser simplesmente um ato simbólico, pleno de sentido ao anunciar e celebrar com dignidade o produto do esforço de investigação e desenvolvimento por parte de equipes científicas, técnicas e clínicas de enorme reputação. Poderíamos simplesmente assinalar, e não seria já senão extraordinário, o simbolismo da comunhão de propósitos entre os promotores do prémio, a Hintt, e os investigadores na procura das melhores soluções e produtos com impacto na utilização da saúde humana. Poderia ser apenas um ato simbólico, com a presença significativa de tantos convidados nesta catedral do conhecimento e da investigação que é a Fundação Champalimaud. Mas não se trata apenas de um ato simbólico ao assinalar os vencedores e atribuir-lhes um prémio. É uma ocasião muito mais importante, onde importa relevar a dimensão humana como finalidade maior da investigação e da consequente inovação. Criar conhecimento com essa finalidade é para além de uma atitude de inteligência, a afirmação da modernidade e da maturidade de uma sociedade competitiva, que se quer afirmar pela qualidade dos seus produtos e a ambição da conquista de mercados nacionais e internacionais com vista à criação de riqueza. Queremos, deste modo, no manancial de conhecimento crítico que permite projetar melhores cuidados de saúde aos doentes, a partir de soluções, processos e produtos inovadores, com ganhos inquestionáveis de saúde, mas igualmente com ganhos de eficiência económica e de desenvolvimento humano globais. Acreditamos no modelo de inovação baseado no conhecimento em saúde a partir dos nossos recursos naturais mais preciosos: os clínicos, os investigadores, os técnicos, os cientistas, os professores e as nossas irrequietas e dinâmicas startups, onde os talentos, ao utilizarem a criatividade como pensamento estratégico, transformam a inovação numa ferramenta de vantagens competitivas. Os prémios que hoje aqui vão ser anunciados também têm como objetivo o conhecimento como fator de estímulo e o sentido de responsabilidade de uma multinacional tecnológica perante os extraordinários desafios do futuro. Quando, em 1986, o ensaísta Alberto Ducrocq escreveu o livro O Futuro é Já Hoje, era impensável, a não ser por uma razão dialética de futurismo, que o mundo beneficiasse de tanto e tão rápido progresso tecnológico e a saúde fosse um dos seus mais hábeis beneficiários. Portugal não ficou atrás desse progresso. Foram perspectivados e criados novos modelos de negócio e empreendedorismo, à escala global, com know-how português, e foram criados empregos com vitalidade económica sólida em vários domínios, como nas biotecnologias, nos medicamentos, nas tecnologias de informação em saúde e nos dispositivos médicos, por exemplo. O Prémio Hintt 2019, designado Prémio Hintt Maturidade Digital, é, como todos sabem, uma iniciativa promovida pela Hintt, que surgiu na sequência da primeira edição do evento Hintt, realizado no dia 4 de outubro de 2017 e repetida em 2018 neste mesmo local. Destina-se a reconhecer e a divulgar as melhores práticas de adoção das tecnologias de informação e comunicação, ao nível da segurança do doente, apoio à decisão clínica e eficiência global. O propósito tem 4 categorias: Startup Innovation, Value Proposition, Clinical Outcomes e Patient Safety. Tem em vista a promoção da maturidade digital das instituições de saúde e startups e spin-offs, com destaque para o seu imprescindível contributo para a prestação de melhores cuidados de saúde, equidade em saúde, garantia de sustentabilidade financeira e foco na visão 360 graus do doente. A replicação de projetos inovadores através da promoção e da partilha de experiências de sucesso entre instituições idênticas constituiu-se ainda como um dos objetivos da atribuição destes prémios. As excelentes candidaturas hoje aqui apresentadas são, na sua generalidade, resultado de uma estratégia bottom-up, onde, trabalhando com profissionais de saúde e percebendo as suas necessidades e as suas ambições, se constroem sólidas soluções tecnológicas. Percebe-se assim a importância maior deste evento, que simbolicamente representa um belo feito a que nos associamos na congratulação às equipes de investigação das diversas candidaturas. É justo que se sublinhe que em cada uma delas ficou provado que os autores conseguiram cruzar uma ideia com um contexto, mostraram capacidade criativa e ligaram-na à realidade dos contextos com brilho e eficácia. As candidaturas apreciadas materializam bem o espírito deste prémio: ser pragmático nas ideias, nas soluções, na inovação e na ambição. Minhas senhoras e meus senhores, o júri a que tenho a honra de presidir e que inclui a professora Ana Paula Martins, o Dr. Jorge Penedo, o Dr. António Ferreira e o professor Nuno Sousa, teve a missão de avaliar e dar lugar à comparação de mérito das candidaturas e dos resultados expectáveis em termos científicos, tecnológicos, económicos e assistenciais. Nós não entendemos este prémio como um fim. Entendemos este prémio como um meio para reconhecer a inovação e a competitividade através do conhecimento e que possa servir de estímulo à procura de novas soluções que coloquem Portugal junto dos países mais desenvolvidos tecnologicamente. O conhecimento é hoje, como sempre foi, a maior riqueza dos países desenvolvidos. Quando associado ao empreendedorismo, é a força motriz da inovação. O conhecimento está também na base da qualidade das instituições, pilar fundamental que distingue os países ricos dos países pobres. Daron Acemoglu e James Robinson, a propósito do seu livro Porque Falham as Nações, as origens do poder, da prosperidade e da pobreza, dizem, e cito, o que distingue as nações mais ricas das mais pobres é a existência de instituições que permitem uma sociedade participar e desenvolver-se ao longo do tempo. Estes autores defendem que não é a cultura, nem a geografia, nem a riqueza do subsolo, nem o atraso das elites que distingue um país rico de um país pobre, mas sim a qualidade das suas instituições e o contexto histórico e social que permitem que a riqueza cresça nos países e falhe noutros países. Ora, hoje o conhecimento é decisivo na qualidade das instituições do futuro, porque é nele que se sustentam as novas soluções de valor acrescentado, que servem às sociedades, comprometendo-as com a natural evolução do homem e das instituições e empresas que o servem. Mesmo assim, e para não nos deixarmos cair na tentação de autossatisfação excessiva com os nossos sucessos enquanto promotores da investigação, atrevo a recordar-vos que a ousadia dos nossos maiores foi sempre não pactuar com a ignorância. Como nos ensina a clara evidência do Padre António Vieira, a maior parte do que sabemos é a menor do que a ignoramos. Muito obrigado. São.
Olá, o meu nome é Carla Quintão, venho aqui apresentar o projeto Reab Visual, que é uma parceria entre o LibFIS, que é um centro de investigação que pertence à Faculdade de Ciência e Tecnologia da Universidade Nova de Lisboa, e o Hospital Dona Estefânia. Neste caso em particular, o que temos é crianças que têm alterações comportamentais e que precisam de ser estimuladas de uma forma sistemática, com estímulos visuais, e foi isso que fizemos. Portanto, uma plataforma que faz exatamente isso, portanto, estímulos visuais para crianças com alterações cognitivas.
A plataforma permite estimular o desenvolvimento das competências visomotoras em bebés com diferentes alterações do desenvolvimento. Esta plataforma permite associar os benefícios da tecnologia a esta estimulação que é necessária para bebés com paralisia cerebral, nascimento pré-termo, entre outros. Integra, por um lado, a vertente terapêutica e também a abordagem da oftalmologia. De forma complementar, permite disponibilizar aos pais um conjunto de estímulos que eles vão poder utilizar no dia-a-dia em casa com o seu bebê, ajustada às necessidades de cada bebê.
O Reab Visual é uma solução tecnológica inovadora na área da reabilitação que estimula as competências visomotoras em crianças com atraso de desenvolvimento. Se ganharmos o prémio Hintt, o nosso objetivo é levá-lo a outras situações clínicas, nomeadamente AVCs e outras instituições, de uma forma gratuita. Por que é que achamos que devemos ganhar o prémio Hintt? Por um lado, porque esta solução é inovadora e podemos aplicar às nossas crianças, e por outro, porque podemos estender esta solução inovadora a outras instituições. Este é o nosso objetivo. Obrigada, Hintt.
Olá, o meu nome é Amândio Souza. O projeto Digital Patient é um projeto que tem como grande objetivo ir buscar a informação clínica dispersa nas várias plataformas, nos vários conteúdos de diferentes formatos do doente e conseguir compilar, analisar essa informação e tirar dela aquilo que é clinicamente relevante.
O que a primeira veio trazer para este projeto foram os avanços no estado da arte de inteligência artificial para o reconhecimento automático de conceitos médicos em texto clínico, nomeadamente com recurso a novos modelos de deep learning.
É um projeto que tira partido da informação existente em textos clínicos. Essa informação corresponde a 80% do que é escrito pelos clínicos, do que é registado por eles, e é uma informação que tem um potencial muito grande e que até hoje ninguém tirou partido. Nós criamos um motor de aprendizagem automático que vai ler todos os textos clínicos e indexa a informação num catálogo por nós desenvolvido, de uma maneira que depois apareça aos clínicos automaticamente e com todo o historial do doente organizado.
Porque é uma ferramenta segura
eficiente, inovadora tecnologicamente e pode ser disponibilizada a toda a população que fala português, achamos que o Digital Patient deve ser o vencedor do prémio Hintt. Obrigado, Hintt.
O nosso projeto centra-se na otimização do processo de diagnóstico, estadiamento e decisão terapêutica em doentes com suspeita de cancro de pulmão. Nós, enquanto Centro de Investigação, CEFITEC, procurou um parceiro que nos apresentasse um problema clínico, que já tivesse sido identificado, que nós pudéssemos, através da engenharia biomédica, que é uma das áreas do centro, pudéssemos dar resposta a esse problema.
Nós identificámos aqui no Serviço de Pneumologia um problema que nos preocupa especialmente, que é a abordagem dos doentes com cancro do pulmão. Isto é um problema muito concreto e que tem a ver com a elevada prevalência desta doença e que infelizmente nos chegam os doentes muitas vezes em fases já avançadas. E depois é também uma doença que tem um processo diagnóstico que é complexo, demora tempo, que tem muitas fases, muitas vezes tem que se repetir, portanto implica marcha atrás e repetir exames, e achamos muito interessante aplicar aqui no fundo os conhecimentos da engenharia e de outras ciências para tentar melhorar este processo, otimizá-lo, sempre muito centrado no doente e permitir depois um melhor outcome para a doença e para o próprio doente e no fundo para o próprio profissional, para o médico que gera todo o processo.
Concorremos ao Prémio Hintt porque acreditamos que a proposta de valor deste projeto tem não só o impacto na vida direta do doente, como numa ferramenta e numa metodologia transversal de análise de sistemas complexos hospitalares. Obrigado, Hintt.
Olá, o meu nome é Micaela Monteiro. Venho-vos falar do SNS 24. O Centro de Contacto do SNS, o SNS 24, nasce há 2 anos, nos serviços partilhados do Ministério da Saúde. Ele surge daquilo que é a antiga linha de saúde 24 e vem agora transformar o conceito e alargá-lo para aquilo que é um centro de contacto do SNS. Alarga esse conceito não só no âmbito e nos serviços que oferece, mas também na forma como o faz, nomeadamente através do digital.
Através do 808 24 24 24, qualquer cidadão em qualquer ponto do país pode telefonar e ter acesso a um aconselhamento por profissional de saúde, neste caso por enfermeiro, ou eventualmente para tratar de alguns assuntos mais de âmbito administrativo, como por exemplo marcar consultas no seu médico de família. É tudo possível através do 808 24 24 24 ou através do canal digital sns24.gov.pt.
É através do SNS 24 que ganhamos cidadãos mais capacitados e autónomos em gerir a sua saúde. O SNS ganha uma melhor utilização dos seus serviços e libertamos os profissionais nos centros de saúde e nos hospitais para fazerem aquilo que só eles conseguem fazer. É através desta transformação digital do SNS que o SNS 24 aporta valor todos os dias para a vida de todos nós. E é exatamente por estas razões que nós acreditamos que o SNS 24 merece o Prémio Hintt. Obrigada, Hintt.
Olá, chamo-me Gabriela, venho apresentar-vos o nosso projeto de cuidar dos sobreviventes de cancro da mama. Este projeto inclui o desenvolvimento de uma plataforma digital com a entrada de informação clínica a quando do momento da alta do doente e registros seriados ao longo dos follow-ups dos doentes nos cuidados de saúde primários. No nosso dia-a-dia e tentando cuidar do doente como um todo, nas várias fases de desenvolvimento e de processo da sua doença, entendemos que seria uma mais-valia podermos reforçar os cuidados de saúde na fase dos sobreviventes, portanto, na fase em que eles já foram tratados com a intenção curativa.
É um projeto inovador, na medida em que integra os vários níveis de cuidados de saúde e inovador, na medida em que permite a interação entre o médico do centro de saúde e o médico do hospitalar. Portanto, dá uma grande segurança às nossas sobreviventes do cancro da mama, que no fundo sentem que podem voltar ao hospital se assim o desejarem e se for necessidade. O projeto IPO de Coimbra merece ganhar este prémio porque se dedica às mulheres sobreviventes do cancro da mama, porque coloca as mulheres sobreviventes do cancro da mama num local de proximidade e onde elas devem estar, que é nos cuidados de saúde primários, e porque coloca numa perspectiva de integração de cuidados de saúde primários e hospitalares e numa perspectiva claramente inovadora, que é uma perspectiva que permite a interação entre os vários níveis de cuidados. Obrigada, Hintt.
Olá, o meu nome é Heitor e estou aqui para vos falar do projeto VR for Neuropain. Este projeto objetiva a reabilitação da dor neuropática, muito comum em lesões vertebramodulares. Para isso, nós conjugamos a nova tecnologia com os processos de reabilitação. Para isso, temos uma luva inteligente, que combina haptic feedback, feedback tátil na interação com os sinais de realidade virtual, assim como recolha de alguns biosinais. Com isto, nós objetivamos fazer uma reabilitação personalizada com as novas tecnologias, associada a um processo de fisioterapia.
O sistema de realidade virtual é inovador e único porque tem uns ambientes imersivos de acordo com os interesses ocupacionais do paciente. E nós gostaríamos muito que a nossa plataforma, que o nosso jogo fosse multiplayer. O que é que isto significa? Vários pacientes ao mesmo tempo a realizarem o mesmo jogo, como também o próprio clínico poder participar no sistema de reabilitação.
O VR for Neuropain é uma solução tecnológica na área da reabilitação que permite uma reabilitação personalizada, desde o contexto clínico até ao domicílio, intervém nas incapacidades de acordo com os interesses ocupacionais, promovendo as capacidades. Estas são as mais-valias do VR for Neuropain.
O projeto está no Centro de Reabilitação em Alcoitão, mas pode estar em qualquer lugar, porque é portátil, acessível a todos e motivador. Já estivemos no Santa Casa Challenge, no Acredita Portugal e no Web Summit e agora queremos estar no palco Hintt. Obrigada, Hintt.
Olá, o meu nome é João Pedro Ribeiro e o sistema da PicMed é um dispositivo médico baseado em software que tem como principal objetivo ajudar os médicos ortopedistas menos experientes a atingir os mesmos resultados dos médicos ortopedistas mais experientes. Então, para isso, desenvolvemos este sistema que permite ao médico ortopedista perceber com extremo detalhe qual o problema do paciente a 3 dimensões e simular diferentes soluções até atingir aquela que será ótima. Neste momento, o sistema da PicMed é certificado para a Europa, para os Estados Unidos. Estamos presentes em mais de 35 países com mais de 1000 médicos ortopedistas a utilizar o nosso sistema.
O nosso principal objetivo é exatamente diminuir a percentagem de erro existente em cirurgias ortopédicas neste momento e, acima de tudo, melhorar a qualidade de vida de um paciente.
Acreditamos que a PicMed deve ser um dos vencedores essencialmente por 3 fatores. O primeiro, pelo impacto social que temos dentro da comunidade médica. Uma vez que estamos a ajudar os médicos ortopedistas a ter melhores resultados, queremos com isso potenciar o outcome para o paciente. O segundo, o impacto social que temos dentro da comunidade de engenharia biomédica a nível nacional. Uma vez que a PicMed trabalha muito com engenheiros biomédicos saídos das universidades, queremos com isso ajudar a que esses engenheiros também tenham um futuro. E o terceiro, pelo facto de estarmos em mercados internacionais e poder potenciar a marca Portugal nesses mesmos mercados. Obrigado, Hintt.
Olá, o meu nome é Teresa Real. Na Novartis nós temos uma missão muito especial, que é reimaginar a medicina. Reimaginar a medicina ao mesmo tempo que tentamos acelerar a jornada do doente nas várias patologias que tratamos. O TechCare é um programa de inovação aberta que foi lançado pela Novartis em 2017 e que tinha exatamente este propósito, reimaginar a medicina através da identificação de soluções inovadoras.
Uma das grandes apostas da Novartis é a insuficiência cardíaca. Esta doença, felizmente, já tem vários tratamentos, variadas terapêuticas e inovações tecnológicas. Criámos o projeto Heart Failure Medicine Club para permitir o acesso mais rápido e uma maior progressão do tratamento ao doente. Este projeto integra a ferramenta APSIM, que é uma ferramenta de aprendizagem muito rápida e intuitiva e permite chegar a mais doentes com um diagnóstico correto.
O nosso produto principal é o APSIM, que permite aos profissionais de saúde treinar casos clínicos reais, simulando a sua prática clínica habitual e recebendo um relatório muito detalhado sobre os seus pontos de melhoria em relação à evidência científica internacional.
Com o Heart Failure Medicine Club, conseguimos aumentar em cerca de 25% a adesão às guidelines terapêuticas de norte a sul do país. Acreditamos por isso que promovemos melhores resultados em saúde. Somos um projeto super digno de ganhar estes prémios. Obrigada, Hintt.
Olá, sou o Ricardo e a nossa motivação para nos candidatarmos ao Prémio Hintt é pelo facto de sermos capazes de dotar a comunidade científica e médica de ferramentas que valorizem o seu trabalho.
A missão da Bituquant é estender a influência da análise quantitativa de imagem nos serviços de neuroradiologia. O nosso objetivo passa por, começando pela investigação, passando depois para a integração de ferramentas na prática clínica e culminando em plataformas de gestão da doença, contribuir para um tratamento mais personalizado do doente. Baseamos-nos em tecnologia inovadora que se baseia em mecanismos de inteligência artificial e o objetivo é tirar o melhor partido deste tipo de ferramentas.
Nós garantimos valor a diferentes entidades, ao médico oferecendo-lhe ferramentas complementares e mais objetivas para o seu trabalho. Ao hospital, garantindo-lhe uma maior competitividade a nível internacional, reduzindo tempo e custos. E, mais importante, ao cidadão, garantindo-lhe uma maior e melhor qualidade de vida.
Nós somos merecedores do Prémio Hintt porque estamos a revolucionar a forma como se analisam os exames de diagnóstico, em particular as imagens médicas.
A nossa solução diferencia-se no mercado por ser totalmente personalizada às necessidades de cada médico.
Obrigado, Hintt.
Olá, eu sou o Nuno, trabalho no Hospital Lusíadas de Lisboa. A missão do nosso grupo passa por ajudar as pessoas a ter uma vida mais saudável e a contribuir para um melhor sistema de saúde para todos. Hoje vimos apresentar um novo projeto, o PharmaTrack. É um software que foi implementado com base numa certificação que tivemos o ano passado, o IMSS, que mede, no fundo, uma escala da segurança e qualidade do doente e que avalia todos os sistemas de informação na área da saúde.
Então o PharmaTrack é uma solução barcode point of care que nos permite então fazer o circuito fechado do medicamento. O circuito fechado do medicamento inicia na farmácia com a criação de um código GS1 Data Matrix que contém todos os dados do medicamento que são relevantes, incluindo o lote e a data de validade. Depois, junto do cliente, à cabeceira do cliente, o enfermeiro consegue fazer esta leitura e assegurar os 5 certos da medicação, que são doente certo, medicamento certo, na dose certa, na via certa, no horário certo. E assim conseguimos eliminar o risco clínico, que é uma das vantagens. Mais vantagens deste processo, desta solução, por nós implementada, é eficiência, paperless, identificação de near misses que até aqui não era possível realizarmos e estarmos junto do cliente, aumentando a satisfação do mesmo.
Os motivos pela qual devemos vencer este prémio são a qualidade, a segurança dos serviços que prestamos, a redução do risco clínico e o foco no nosso cliente com o apoio de tecnologia. Obrigado, Hintt.
Passamos agora à apresentação dos vencedores.
Muito bem. Então, na categoria de Startup Innovation,
o vencedor é o projeto PicMed.
Não sei se temos alguém em palco. Aqui o microfone.
Agradecer à Glint e à Hintt por este evento, magnífico evento. Gostaria que mais iniciativas destas ocorressem em Portugal, precisamente para podermos mostrar aquilo que melhor fazemos no nosso país. E pronto, e é basicamente isso. Muito obrigado.
A segunda categoria, a categoria de Clinical Outcomes, o vencedor. O vencedor é VR for Neuropain. Parabéns. 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 Aproximaste-me aqui mais um pouco.
Muito obrigada. Primeiro, queríamos também dar os parabéns a todos os finalistas. Para nós é uma grande honra estarmos aqui pelo Glint e pelo Prémio Hintt. E também agradecer também aos nossos parceiros, ao Centro de Reabilitação de Alcoitão e ao nosso Centro de Investigação do LibFIS. Muito obrigada.
Parabéns.
Na categoria Patient Safety, o vencedor é...
Hospital Lusíadas de Lisboa. Parabéns. Parabéns.
Bom, é um prazer estar aqui com todos. Parabéns a todos os finalistas. Quase que parece os Globos de Ouro, mas não tive tempo para escolher o melhor fato. Mas queria, acima de tudo, agradecer em nome do Hospital, Lusíadas de Lisboa, Grupo Lusíadas, porque é um ano em que tivemos, de facto, muito esforço para fazer alguns projetos de grande impacto, quer hospitalar, quer na melhoria dos cuidados de saúde que temos vindo a fazer. E por isso resta-me agradecer em nome de todos e pronto, e para o ano que estaremos cá com um novo projeto, ok? Muito obrigado a todos.
Parabéns. Finalmente, na categoria de Value Proposition, o vencedor...
O vencedor é... Centro Hospitalar São João.
Parabéns. Oi. Olá. Parabéns. Não sei o que é que entrego aqui. Parabéns.
Muito obrigado, Glint, muito obrigado, Hintt. Eu gostava de enaltecer esta parceria entre a Faculdade de Medicina, o Centro Hospitalar São João e a Primeira A, e, portanto, que deu como resultado um projeto interessante, financiado pelo Norte 2020, e é preciso salientar as parcerias de financiamento, e que deram origem a uma solução que nesta fase está claramente ativa no nosso hospital e que nós esperamos sem dúvida que ela venha a fazer parte integrante de várias soluções do Sistema Nacional de Saúde, permitindo assim ao médico gastar menos tempo com os papéis, menos tempo com os ficheiros e mais tempo com o doente. Muito obrigado.
Obrigada, parabéns.
Agora chamo ao palco todas as candidaturas, todos os representantes de todas as candidaturas para fazermos uma fotografia coletiva.
Este lado está aqui mais descompensado. São muitos. Aqui sim. Tem que chegar mais para aqui. Parabéns. Está feito. Eu vou começar desse lado então. É mais fácil. Parabéns. Obrigada. Parabéns. Parabéns. Obrigada. Parabéns. Novamente. Parabéns. Obrigada, parabéns. Parabéns, novamente. Já escutámos com um ano agora. Parabéns, novamente. Parabéns. Já, obrigado. Parabéns. Obrigado. Mais uma vez, parabéns. Pronto. Parabéns.
Peço então que ocupem os vossos lugares para prosseguirmos. Muito obrigado.
Pois estamos já na reta final do evento e chamo para subir novamente a palco Filipa Fisch, administradora da Glint para a área da saúde.
Muito bom dia a todos. Estamos a fechar a terceira edição do Hintt e é um privilégio para nós ter esta casa preenchida, além dos que estão presencialmente, também os que assistem online e em direto. Portanto, para nós é um privilégio. Muito obrigada a todos novamente pela vossa presença. Obrigado aos finalistas por partilharem connosco a inovação que é feita e o melhor que se faz dentro das instituições de saúde e na junção do que também muito aqui já se falou, entre o mundo académico, entre o mundo empresarial e juntando o cidadão para que ele perceba e sinta que o que estamos a colocar à sua disposição não envolve mais um passo, mas envolve mais qualidade e mais segurança no final do dia. Um agradecimento muito especial também aos membros do júri e ao Dr. Martins Nunes por todo o tempo despendido para a análise das candidaturas. Muito obrigada. E, portanto, estamos a chegar ao final, mas desde o início, desde a primeira edição de 2017, nós verificámos que a tecnologia hoje em dia já é uma realidade. Nós temos um tsunami de tecnologia todos os dias que nos invade, mas e podemos dizer que vai a 1000 km/h, como nas primeiras edições aqui vimos, através do Bertalamesco ou do GERD, que ela envolve-nos todos os dias e transforma o nosso dia-a-dia, mas quando olhamos para os diferentes setores de atividade e como é que ela é adotada, a velocidade passa de 1000 km/h para 10, 100 km/h. E, portanto, este é o desafio e, por isso, esta constante e este roadmap, esta constante, ao longo de todos os anos, quais são os fatores que nos permitem acelerar a adoção da tecnologia nos diferentes setores de atividade e, em concreto, na área da saúde. No evento de hoje, o Rudi começou por nos dizer que a tecnologia hoje em dia transformou a sociedade é digital, é virtual e assenta em mobilidade. E isso transformou efetivamente o nosso dia-a-dia. Nós temos mais telemóveis do que pessoas com acesso à água potável e, portanto, é uma realidade. Temos mais telemóveis do que pessoas com escova de dentes. Portanto, é uma realidade e transforma o nosso dia-a-dia. Se olharmos, e como aqui foi falado ao longo da sessão, se olharmos para a saúde, o que é que nós queremos na comparação com o digital, com o virtual e com a mobilidade? Queremos uma medicina que é personalizada e ela pode vir da genómica, como aqui foram dados vários exemplos. Passamos da escala de anos, dias, milhares de euros para hoje conseguir sequenciar genoma na escala de minutos e na dezena de dólares. Portanto, é cada vez mais acessível e ela tem de nos ajudar a tornar a medicina mais personalizada, quer seja pela inteligência artificial. Se têm assistido a programas sobre como será o futuro em 2077, percebem que a inteligência artificial poderá simular o cérebro humano nas próximas 2, 3 décadas. E o que é que isso nos vai trazer, efetivamente, para esta medicina personalizada? O banco de dados que temos hoje em dia, de imagens, de dados que todos os dias nós colocamos ao dispor para diferentes utilizadores e para diferentes empresas, como é que eles efetivamente vão ser utilizados para medicina personalizada? O segundo ponto é que queremos uma medicina preventiva. Nenhum de nós quer estar doente e, portanto, queremos que a tecnologia nos ajude efetivamente a tratar saúde, a ficarmos saudáveis, a sentir-nos bem. Se lembram da pirâmide que o Rudi apresentou, a parte do bem-estar com o nosso corpo é fundamental e está na base da pirâmide. Terceiro e último, nós queremos medicina at the point of care. Portanto, eu preciso de ter a tecnologia para decidir, quer seja profissional de saúde, quer seja enquanto utente, enquanto pessoa, eu quero ter à minha disposição a tecnologia e os cuidados de saúde no local onde eu estou e não tenho de me deslocar para ser assistida. E, portanto, os exemplos e os projetos dos finalistas que tivemos aqui hoje assentam muito nesta capacidade de, à distância, eu conseguir melhorar a assistência e melhorar com estes 3 fatores em saúde, de personalizar, de medicina preventiva e de point of care, nós conseguimos efetivamente melhorar os cuidados em saúde. E vimos claramente quando o Ian e a Dr. Shaw nos apresentaram diferentes contextos em que a tecnologia existe de forma universal e mundial, mas que não é só tecnologia. Nós temos bons exemplos, mas eles são moldados em função das culturas onde estamos E isso é algo fundamental que temos que considerar quando estamos a falar de implementar e acelerar cada vez mais tecnologia no setor da saúde. Não é apenas uma mudança tecnológica, é também uma mudança cultural. E o exemplo que aqui foi dado, que cada consulta demora, em média, 3 a 4 minutos, é um exemplo muito sharp, muito direto de como a tecnologia é igual, o processo e a mudança cultural foi totalmente diferente. E, portanto, temos de olhar para o panorama não só tecnológico, mas também da mudança cultural. Mas como ainda não descobrimos todos os fatores que nos levam a ter sucesso e a acelerar, a ter cada vez mais tecnologia e sentir o benefício da tecnologia, marcamos convosco o encontro para 1 de outubro de 2020, na Fundação Chapalimau, para a 4ª edição do Hintt, portanto, já podem colocar nas vossas agendas. E a partir de hoje podem candidatar projetos que já estão em curso, projetos que têm para implementar a partir de hoje, nas 4 categorias iguais às deste ano: Clinical Outcomes, Patient Safety, Value Proposition and Startup Innovation. E as candidaturas vão decorrer até final de maio e teremos os vencedores na próxima edição do Hintt, 1 de outubro de 2020. Muito obrigada a todos novamente. Deixa-me só tirar isso.